Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, welcome to Debate Crypto. In a world where hopium collides with something Miguel knows nothing of, common sense. That's right, starring your host, the Crypto Keeper, myself, and the one and only Blockchain Crusader. How are we doing, Miguel?
Doing good, man. How's everything?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. What do we have scheduled for the podium this evening?
We got Facebook investing $50 million into the metaverse, right? We've also got, tons of money thrown in there, right? They're going to be building it responsibly. We'll see what that's all about.
Yeah.
And then, then we got 5 reasons why Bitcoin is still below 50K. And finally, to wrap it up, we have 65% of Americans want to be paid in crypto. What's all that all about? We'll see if that statistic is even real. So we'll be going into that.
I need to put on my headphones, Miguel, because I'm feeling rather like a DJ, and it's time to put a spin on these articles. Let's check it out. Yeah, so let's kick it off. So we want to start off with, actually, I need to share my screen here right quick. Let me do a little screen share action here. And let's kick it off with Facebook, Miguel. So Facebook is spending $50 million to build Metaverse, quote, responsibly. I'm trying to figure out, first of all, why they're saying they're going to spend $50 million on the metaverse, quote, responsibly. You start talking to people about a metaverse and $50 million, there's no responsibility in people's minds there. They're like, what are these people doing? Because I mean, think about it. It is kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
So it says Facebook co-founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg said in June that the social media giant is on a path to become a, quote, metaverse company. Now, the firm is putting its money where its mouth is, revealing plans to spend $50 million over the next 2 years to help bring the metaverse to life. Let me pause. Miguel, start this off with something. What do you think, right? What do you think the reason Facebook would want to be a metaverse company, and or how are they already primed and ready and set up for that?
So the way I would answer that would be the reason why they want to become a metaverse company is because they need to pivot, right? They need to make a pivot into the future, right? Facebook is a dying technology. There's better social medias out there, and they understand that the way they can continue to grab new users, younger people, because their audience right now is not young people anymore. It's the older generations, right? And to grab the new generation to pivot and become the next big thing again, they need to go into the future, which is the metaverse, right? NFTs. They've seen what's the power of the NFT world and what it's been doing in the crypto space. But the reason why they want to get into it, besides that, is control, right? They know human psychology. They know how to control narratives and how to control things. Imagine now when they can build a whole digital world, the level of control they're going to have around this world. And what was the other question that you asked? Because you had multiple
Just
questions.
I was at so as it relates to that, how are they already maybe set up to succeed as a company that's going to be that big in, quote, metaverse?
Well, I mean, they definitely have tons of resources, right? And whatever developers cannot create a metaverse that is hired by them, they've got the money to buy out smaller companies building metaverses and having the technology that they don't have. So they have the resources, right? They're super powerful. They've bought out tons of companies in the previous time, absorbed them into their company and have grown their business. So they're definitely going to do this. If they can't do it themselves right now and they want to catch things real quick, they can just buy out a company.
Yeah, I actually want to go a little further into that here in just a second. Let me read a little bit further onto this, right? What is the metaverse? It's a term that we hear often in the crypto industry, especially as decentralized projects attempt to create future online worlds and experiences free from the oversight and control of centralized entities like Facebook, for example. Essentially, the metaverse refers to a shared online space where users represented by 3D avatars coexist and interact together. Let me pause. Okay, Miguel, we have okay, a Facebook as it is right now, okay, is a place where people, albeit, it's us old boomers and everything, right? I mean, everybody always when people talk about Debate Crypto Academy, the fact that we're on, Facebook, and we've got this premium Facebook group, right? Is, oh yeah, you boomers, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you know what? Well, hey, well, look, it works really well, okay, but Facebook already has this community of people that are, I mean, pretty faithful and pretty loyal to it. And as you look at it, what does Facebook already have? Let's go through it, right? They have messaging service, right? They
Boom.
have video services. So connections, right? People to people, people to people. I mean, high school people the people that I went to high school with that I don't ever talk to, if they randomly want to hit me up, if they don't have my number, they can get a hold of me on Facebook like that, right? So
They
it's
own Oculus.
yes, they own Oculus. Yes, that's a big one, right? They have these Facebook rooms now where we can, in a virtual way, we can get together and meet and see people face to face, just like Zoom. Okay,
Yes.
and so as this continues to grow, they also, and this is the next big one that I think it really spills into, is the marketplace. Facebook Marketplace. I don't know the numbers on it, but it is huge. The
Yes.
numbers on Facebook Marketplace are massive. And so here's what I look at. I say, okay, you get enough people to get into a website, right? A platform like Facebook, and they can interact with their friends, right? They can spend a lot of time there seeing what other people are doing, almost like hanging out, right? They can buy things, and then things could, show up at their house the next day or whatever. It really encourages people to hang out. I mean, that's the spot now, right? And so as these metaverse become more and more popular, Miguel, you're a little more versed on it than I am, but I believe that it's going to be a place where you can jump on to, I mean, right now, Decentraland, you can get on there, walk up to a casino, to a table in a casino, and you can actually interact and gamble. And somebody on the other side of wherever this, whoever owns that table is actually raking in profits and income from that table. And then the
Exactly.
casino owns the land and the real estate. I mean, guys, we're talking about digital property. We're talking about NFTs. We're talking about the future. And I think that it's wild, and it doesn't surprise me to see Facebook getting into it at all.
Oh yeah, exactly right. They're not gonna miss out, right? This is a gigantic cash cow, right? It's the new frontier, right? Everybody rushed to the west when the gold rush was happening. This is the next gold rush. It is crypto. It is the metaverse. And the metaverse with these companies like Facebook that have as much resources as they do are not going to miss out on having this digital property that they're either going to sell to you or they're just going to have full on rights themselves, right? And be making
Yeah.
tons of money on all the property that you're going to be using because they're not just going to have casinos. They're not just going to have hangout spots. They're going to be doing all kinds of unimaginable things, right? They're going to be running complete other businesses out of these metaverses,
Yeah.
right? Whether they're renting it out to other companies that are coming in. Imagine all the companies that run businesses on Facebook right now,
Yeah.
right? And we're talking about, give me a second here. And we're talking about other companies coming in and saying, "Hey, Facebook, we want to run our business in your metaverse," right?
Yeah.
And they're going to rent out a space. They're going to probably pay a lease for that ground, for that land that they're on. Facebook is going to build them whatever XY building or whatever it is, and these companies, instead of running Facebook ads, all right, and having Facebook pages on Facebook, they're going to have a full business in the metaverse that everybody's going to see and everybody's going to be joining in. It's going to be a great way of advertisement. So there's
Yeah.
tons and tons of ways to make money off the metaverse, and Facebook is not going to miss it.
Yeah, no doubt. And as we go farther in to the article, it says apparently aware of criticism of its track record on user privacy and cultivating misinformation, Facebook said today it will build metaverse products, quote, responsibly via this initiative. Here's a quote: "We'll work with experts in government, industry, and academia to think through issues and opportunities in the metaverse," reads the official post. For instance, Its success depends on building robust interoperability across services so different companies' experiences can work together. We also need to involve the human rights and civil rights communities from the start to ensure these technologies are built in a way that's inclusive and empowering. Miguel, let me say the problem that I have with this. The problem that I have with this is the complete and utter control that Facebook has. Okay. If I right now want to talk about the president of the United States in a way that Facebook doesn't think that I should, guess what happens? It's gone. So I did a TikTok video recently. I won't get into the details on it, but I did a TikTok video recently that basically was a letter to our government and just asking for some things to change. And it went, viral. It had a few 100,000 views and a bunch of, likes and all of that. And a number of people told me, they said, we posted this on Facebook and they got community guidelines violations. There was not a single cuss word in there. There was nothing in there that anybody would probably even say that was untrue. And it's sad to say that they will be able to, and they will be able to cultivate a place where they can not only have this other world, but they can basically make sure that you see what they want you to see and you don't see what they don't want you to see. And that my friend is probably the one thing that I would say, hey, this is kind of scary because people are going to be engaged, people are going to be there, that people are going to be living this other life there, and they are going to be able to directly control what it is you see and you don't see. And I think it's kind of scary. You're muted.
What I wanted to say before moving on in the article is Facebook having a metaverse is very dangerous in the fact that the level of control they already have in the real world. Now they're going to be creating a world where you're going to be inside of, right? They have full control of this world, not just in
Yep.
the way of creating it, but not just of what you can see and can't see, but what you can't do, what you could own, don't own, what your rights are and what are not your rights in this world, right? And if you're living a second life, and we're talking about something about this, we're talking about 20, 30 years down the line where people are going to be living a full second life in virtual reality in these metaverses, being inside this Facebook metaverse is not being inside of America, right? You're not going to have your constitutional rights inside of
Right.
there with you. And
Yeah.
this becomes very dangerous when you have a centralized company with as much power as they do already in the real world globally, now creating a whole nother world where people are going to be existing inside of. So definitely someone in the comments, Jason Scobie, just said Ready Player One could definitely be our future, and I 100% agree, right? But in that movie, the world was created by a person, and he made it decentralized, right? He didn't have full control of the world. He just let it go out to the users, kind of like Tron, right? The users. um,
Right.
so that's more of the kind of metaverse that I want to be into, not the metaverse where it's the Zuckerberg verse, right? And he is the ruler of this world. That
Yeah.
I am very afraid of.
Yeah, that and I'll finish it off with this. I agree with you on the end of that. I believe that in a crazy way, power does get to people's heads, right?
Yep.
And you have unlimited money. You can do whatever you want whenever you want. If you ask somebody to literally wipe off your shoes in between each step that you took down a hallway, you could get somebody to do it, right? And when
Exactly.
that with that much power comes, I think, a warping of the
Great
mind.
responsibility.
Well, I was more gonna say, with all of that quote power, I think people recognize that it is that the power is there, i.e., our government and other platforms, and they say, wait a minute, if we can control how much people see, what they see, when they see it, how they see it, how much time they are there, then ultimately they basically have full control of your thought process, or at least it's kind of like if you start raising a child from a young age with them hearing and being around things all the time, they become semi-programmed to to believe or to be in tune with things that you're saying and talking about. And I think that with the metaverse being a new thing, I think it could be doing the same thing. It could be priming people to have the views and the stance and the political the political
Alignment.
views as an alignment as somebody like Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, one last thing I want to say is Red Tesla is saying they don't design things responsibly. They design things to affect people and society. They only worry about money, right? So when it comes to that, what I want to say is that's exactly how these tech companies design these things to be as addictive as possible, right? To give you that rush of dopamine to keep you hooked because they, even though these products are free, they make money depending how long you stay on the platform. So they got to constantly be coming up with ways to make the algorithm as engaging as possible to you. And these virtual worlds where people are going to be
Yeah,
exploring physically inside of, they're going to want to keep you there as long as possible. They want to
yeah,
bring everything into that world so that you don't have to exit that world, right? And you can
yeah,
stay there as long as possible. And one of the great examples is Steve Jobs created the iPhone, right? All the iPod, all these things. Yet he limited his children on how much technology time they had, how much screen time, right? And a
yeah,
lot of other big tech people do the same. They sell us these products and they want us to consume, 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 and that's how they're designed. But when it comes to their families, they're like, this is dangerous. You guys have to have a limited amount of consumption of these products, and they limit them to like maybe 2 to 3 hours at most in a day,
yeah.
because they know that these things are addictive and create addictive behaviors, and it does affect you psychologically because that's what these tech companies do the best: understand you psychologically through the metadata that they're collecting on you constantly.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing, right? If it's free, you are the product. And that is exactly what's happening there. As many of you are probably well aware, you are the product. When we talk about a product, I forget what it was. I think it was yesterday or the day before. My wife and I are having a casual conversation about something. I mentioned something that I don't ever talk about. And literally within minutes, when I jumped on Facebook to look for something, it was the first thing that popped up. Guys, you are the product. And so we just need to be aware as long as you are all aware. Listen, I'm not hating on Facebook in particular. The Debate Crypto Academy, we are running through Facebook, right? But it gives us the opportunity to have our private community there, right? We're not allowing them to come in and tell us what we can't. The moment that they try to censor anything that we say or do, Miguel, I don't care how many people are in there. We are gone, my
Yeah,
brother. And you know that we're on the same page with that. So the
exactly.
moment they try to censor us and what we're talking about there, we won't be on there anymore. But I'm hoping that's not going to be a problem. So
Yeah, let's move on to the next story.
yeah. That one we got way in on that. So this one's interesting, Miguel. I think I've got my
Oh, let me
screen
bring it
shared.
up. Let me bring it up
Yeah,
here. Yep.
I've got my screen shared. 65% of working Americans are willing to be paid in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin. Let me just say real quick before I go any further, this headline has to be a big load of dog poop, right?
Yeah.
This has got to be a big load of garbage. I don't think 65% of
Maybe
Americans know what Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin are,
maybe
right?
not the Dogecoin part. Tons of people
Yeah.
know that one.
Well, yeah, you might be right about that. But check this out. And then it's a great example of you look at the headline, right, versus what the article says. This is why when people read when people read headlines and then don't read the article, they need to read the article. So we
Yeah.
go into the article. To explore how Americans view cryptocurrencies as a form of workplace compensation, research and survey firm Skynova spoke to more than 1,000 working professionals, including 797 employees and 205 managers. Skynova provides invoicing software for small businesses, and in order to gauge both interest and experience surrounding the new form of compensation, the company's survey include, and here's the kicker. The survey included 46.9% of respondents who had already received cryptocurrency as compensation and 53.9% of respondents who didn't. Listen, pause. They're saying that half of these people that are being talked to and in this have already been paid in cryptocurrency. So guess what? We scroll up. 65% of working Americans. Well, wait a minute. 49% of the people you're surveying right now have already been paid. They've already been paid. So no wonder you're coming up with some fabulous numbers. It then goes on to say,
Skewed numbers, right? Skewed number. If
yeah,
you
no doubt.
only survey people that are in crypto, then you say, hey, 65% of them want to be paid in crypto. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
because it's a small population of the people that are already in crypto.
Yeah, and it says 65% of the employees responded that they would be at least somewhat willing to receive compensation in cryptocurrencies, with just over 28% even classifying themselves as very willing. Guys, this is just a prime example of read more than the freaking headline. I don't want to call it a no story, because I think it's very important as we move forward and become more mainstream with our crypto. But we need to, you've got to read more than the headline, because reading the headline in this versus what the actual data in here is, two totally different things. Thoughts, Miguel?
Yeah, dude, 100% right. I think Bobby is said it in the comments right now. So yeah, the number is closer to less than 20% of people in America are even involved in crypto in general. So there's
Yeah,
definitely not 65% of people at all willing to be paid in crypto.
yeah,
And at the same time, these articles, right? This is an article that is favorable to crypto, right? Like we want to see these kind of headlines, right? But only if they're true, not if it's skewed information, right?
yeah,
At least us personally, I know we're the type of people that definitely want things to be honest and not say, we're not going to push this article like, hey guys, 65% of Americans want crypto. I don't know what you're doing, right? You should be in crypto right now. When it's not true, 65% of Americans don't want crypto because 65% of Americans don't know what crypto is.
yeah,
So when it's true, then we'll be pushing it. Then we'll be, happy that these statistics are real, but not skewed information. Skewed information, whether it's good or bad, it's FUD nonetheless. It's not real. It's not good for the space in
yeah.
general.
If we were at 65% and that was a real number, if that was the real numbers right now, guys, I can tell you this. Bitcoin would not be below 50K, first of all, right? That's a freaking fact. And second of all, it would be absolutely just normal, commonplace that you could go to any store and you could either spend it, or at least you could, make a Bitcoin transaction, whatever. Now, that's getting more and more prevalent, but it
Mhm.
is not by any stretch of the imagination the norm. So it then goes on just a little bit further, and it says fewer than 10% rated the idea of their employees starting to offer salaries in crypto as, quote, very bad. Almost a third of the respondents said that they would quit their current job to pursue another that offered crypto compensation, although if their current employer started doing so, 42.2% would quit. Guys, literally, they tried to figure out how to write an article that had 1,000 words or less that said absolutely nothing.
Yep.
That's literally what we have going on here. It says such an attitude suggests that employees are more eager to pursue new forms of compensation on their own, as opposed to it being imposed on them. Yeah, I can see that. I can see them saying, hey, if the compensation was a requirement, I can see somebody saying, okay, yeah, nah, I'm not, you're not going to require me to take anything. Right. And I'm on board with that. You should
Yes.
not be requiring anything on people. Right. It should be
Your
the
choice.
country that, yes, it should be the country that we have the Declaration of Independence for. Right. And we have that freedom. And so it should never be imposed on anyone. I think the cool thing though, is that might be like the shell, the outer, the fringes of this story, are that people like Tom Brady, right?
Mhm.
Probably arguably the greatest quarterback to ever play football, is talking about taking his salary, or at least portions of it, in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And the
Yes.
fact that you have people like that are saying, listen, I am a filthy rich individual, and to be even more filthy rich, I know that cryptocurrency can help me get there. It's not
Yeah.
a bad thing.
Lots of
Absolutely.
lots of athletes are coming out saying that they want to get into crypto, get paid in
Yep.
crypto, right? We saw Stephen Curry, he bought a Board Yacht Ape Club NFT, right? We've seen some other football players also coming out saying that they want portions of their salary paid in crypto. So yes, that is very good, and we do want to see that, but we wanted to see as the option, right? Not as a requirement. It's like you are required to take Bitcoin or you're required to take this. No, if I want to get paid in fiat and then later convert it into Bitcoin or whatever, it's I got to do what I want with my money, right? If I want to take fiat, that's fine. If I want to take crypto, that's fine too. If I want to take half and half, that's also fine. It's all legal tender, right? It's all legal money, so it should be taken however is most convenient to me. But that article is, like you said, it's a no article. It's a nothing burger. It doesn't say anything. It's only pushing a narrative of saying 65% of Americans want crypto, but at the same time, if it's enforced on them, they're quitting their jobs. So
Yeah.
are you for it? Are you against it? What are you
Right.
trying to say in this article? So it's a
Yeah.
big nothing burger. It's just,
Yeah.
trying to fill in space for a data they had nothing to write about.
Yep, no doubt, no doubt. Let's move on to this last article, Miguel, and this one's interesting. I think that the word FUD comes to mind as it relates to this article, but let's talk about it. Right, let's go through these one at a time. So, 5 reasons why Bitcoin remains below $50,000. Okay. No, so on September 8th, Standard Charter's cryptocurrency research team projected the price of Bitcoin could reach $100,000 in the last days of 2021 or the early months of 2022. Several crypto CEOs have also made similar predictions, as has Thomas Lee, managing partner of Fundstrat Global Advisors. However, apart from the momentary break beyond 50,000 price mark in the first week of September, Bitcoin has failed to attract any bullish momentum. At press time, the price of Bitcoin was around $43,700 as it continues to range between 41K support and the resistance level near 50,000. So what's causing the downward pressure? Let's start it off. Number one, DeFi continues to grow exponentially. Miguel, talk to me about why you think this is valid or invalid. Let's talk about it.
Okay, yeah. So when it comes to DeFi, right, when it comes to DeFi, yes, DeFi has been a big player in this cycle. And yes, it's taken some money away from Bitcoin, right? People want to get into Ethereum and these other cryptocurrencies to get liquidity and provide liquidity and get money, right? Something that Bitcoin really isn't doing. But it's not taking away from Bitcoin. It's not bringing downward pressure onto Bitcoin's price action. Bitcoin still reigns king, right? Institutions want Bitcoin. Yes, they're starting to get into Ethereum, but you got to remember these institutions and these governments, they move a lot slower than retail does. So therefore, they're going to take a lot more time when it comes to regulatory things to jump into DeFi. Right? There's a lot of different what ifs scenarios right now with no real regulatory clarification yet around DeFi. So these institutions are not going to jump straight in head first into DeFi and take away from Bitcoin. They know that they can get into Bitcoin and not have any regulatory issues because because Bitcoin is not, it was never ICO'd, it's not centralized, it's not owned by anyone. So there's no regulatory issues with Bitcoin. It's already been proven. Tons of companies are buying into it, putting it on their balance sheets. Nations are adopting it. Institutions are going, head first into it. So Bitcoin is a clear answer. DeFi is not taking away from Bitcoin. DeFi is just another way to make money in the crypto space. And I'm super bullish on DeFi, but I
Yeah.
do not believe it's causing downward pressure on Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think that a couple things here. I think first of all, I think that the that people are taking, and this is a general stance on assets and cryptocurrency that people this is something that people will do a lot. Is there is a money flow in crypto, right? And that money flow goes from Bitcoin to ETH to mid to large cap alts to small cap alts to crap coins, and there's a money flow. And
Yeah.
basically, what the money flow states is that you start from here, and when you take profits, it goes down to the next level, and you take profits and it goes down, you take profits and it goes down, and it basically does that, right?
Altcoin
So
season.
do I believe that at the end of the day, the altcoins are going to be somewhere where those profits are going? Yes, I do.
Yes.
The other thing that I can say I do, get on board with is it says a lot of this new growth is thanks to the arrival of new competitors in the decentralized application space, including Solana, Avalanche, Phantom, Cardano. Here's what I will say. competitors, right? These are all smart contract focused platforms, right? And I wouldn't consider these to be competitors. I would consider these to be um what's a good word I'm trying to use.
Um,
They're more teammates that
yes.
in the long run can be used together in some form or fashion, right? Now, there is so much hype that has been built up and around. Like, Miguel, you haven't heard people talking about Solana very much right now, right? But it was absolutely the only thing people were asking about 2 weeks ago when it was absolutely ripping, right?
Yep.
People were talking about taking money from Bitcoin. I'm putting it in Solana. If you're an idiot if you don't have Solana, da, 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 right? Now all of a sudden, Solana is somewhat back down to earth. I don't hear anybody talking about it. So what I would say is that a lot of the hype that happens surrounding some of these projects could absolutely pull some profits from Bitcoin. But at the end of the day, people, especially institutions, want to keep that store of value in Bitcoin. It is a quote lower risk asset. Number
Yeah.
two,
Wait.
the
Before we
yeah,
finish on that
yeah,
too,
yeah.
uh, DeFi, right? With Bitcoin's later upgrade coming, I think in November, Taproot trying to introduce smart contracts into Bitcoin. Bitcoin is trying. They're going to try to get Bitcoin into the DeFi space as well. So that's going to be a game changer for Bitcoin.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. I wasn't even thinking about that. That's a really good point. Thanks, Miguel. Number two, the NFT boom. I'm going to read a bit of this. It's not just DeFi that's stealing the spotlight away from Bitcoin. The NFT market has also enjoyed significant success in 2021. The amount spent to purchase NFTs through a 30-day period has risen dramatically from around $10 million at the beginning of 2021 to roughly $2.6 billion as of September 17th. Due to the ascendancy of DeFi and NFTs, Bitcoin dominance, right, has dropped significantly. It was at 69.7% at the beginning of the year, but is down to now about 41.9%. In other words, Bitcoin is not commanding the same level of interest and attention as it was 9 months ago. This could point to why it has struggled to gain the type of buying pressure necessary to break above 50,000. Here's what I think about that. I think that as we continue to grow as a cryptocurrency ecosystem, the Bitcoin dominance has to chill out, right?
Yes.
Because now all like when listen, 2008, 2000 or 2008, 2009 when Bitcoin just came out, right? End of 2008, started 2009 when it first came out after the financial crisis. Guess what the market dominance was? It was 100%,
100%.
right? And so as we get more and more of these legitimate projects, including NFTs, right? As all of these things come into the space, at the end of the day, there is an overall market cap for, let's say, the world, right? Now we keep making the money print to go burr, and then that number keeps changing. But I digress. There is a number that is continually changing, but that encompasses everything. Well, when everything in one space is right here, and then it goes to here, well, 100% here versus 100% here is a whole lot different story. And so, do I think that this is the case that other things are taking away from it? Yes, but it has to. There's no way for it not to. The only way that all of this NFTs, DeFi, all of the I think regulatory pressure, like all of these things, the only way that this doesn't happen is if literally you're a Bitcoin maxi and the Bitcoin maxis happen to be right, where everything else is complete garbage. No one else is going to try to get into it. And that's just not the case.
Yeah, Bitcoin Maxi here. Everything is trash. Only Bitcoin. No, just kidding, guys. Just kidding. So NFTs, right? NFTs have taken some money, some attention away from Bitcoin, right? People have been very interested in making money with NFTs, but NFTs are short term. NFTs are not long term. The NFT boom is shorter than anything else that's going to be in the crypto space. Yes, it's going to have its boom and bust cycles. It will have another boom eventually, but people in the NFT space are in it for a quick flip. People that are in Bitcoin are not in it for a quick flip. They're in it for the long haul, for the next 5 to 10 years, easy, right? Michael Saylor, never selling, right? Forever, right? Will always continuously borrow on his Bitcoin portfolio and keep it growing.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of mentality I think of. Yes, NFTs but NFTs won't last. Most NFT, if people think that 99% of crypto projects are going to die in the next couple of years or by the end of the decade, imagine the crypto projects that are going to die next month. Like it's
Yeah.
there's tons of projects, right? NFTs are just marketing campaigns, right?
Yeah.
That's how they become successful. They just put a lot of dollars in influencer pockets and a lot of money into social media to boom it out there so that everybody gets an eye on it, and they think that because it's everywhere and everyone is talking about it, it is something that they should be putting their money into, right? So NFTs are not like Bitcoin at all, and they won't last the test of time like Bitcoin will. I'm not saying that NFTs are going to die out and go away. NFTs are here for the long run, but they will have to evolve into something way better that will exist longer periods of time than these cycles of hype and try to mint one today, pay like $2,000 in gas just to try to mint an NFT so that tomorrow you can try to flip it on OpenSeas, right? We saw the whole OpenSeas scandal with the insider trading. It's
Hmm.
short term, it's short term. It's not, when you compare it to Bitcoin, I would say NFTs are trash compared to Bitcoin because it's just the short term vision of flipping it. No one's in it for the real term, and it's just campaign money from marketing companies that are putting money into influencer pockets to talk about it. So
Yeah.
nobody is paying somebody to talk about Bitcoin. Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody's paying you to talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin talks for itself. It shows
Right.
the results of who it is, what it can do. It doesn't need a marketing campaign.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the NFT space as people know it today, because if you ask the layman that is not like, head and hands into the crypto space like we are, if you ask them and you say, "Hey, what what is an NFT?" They're going to tell you, "Oh, it's a digital piece of art." Right? They might be able to tell you that. And if they're able to tell you that, and that's all they know, well then they are missing the whole idea behind NFTs. What you are talking about with flipping NFTs right now, you're absolutely correct. It's all hype, 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 hype. When all of a sudden our driver's license is an NFT, when all of a sudden my daughter's birth certificate is an NFT, when all of a sudden things like that start to happen, now we're talking about a totally different beast, right? We're talking
Yes.
about digital ownership in a real live
Use
world,
case.
and
Yeah.
we will be purchasing some of that type of thing through the metaverse, which is a whole nother idea. But yeah, in the case that like, oh, it's a piece of digital art, I totally agree with you. Number 3, U.S. regulatory pressure. The U.S. Senate recently passed the contentious infrastructure bill. This involves a $1.2 trillion budget intended to be used to improve various areas of the economy. Part of the proposal includes amending the rules around cryptocurrency taxation in order to help foot this gargantuan bill. One of the changes includes requiring crypto brokers to report transactions. Blah, zay, blah, zay, blah, zay, blah, right? Okay. Regulatory. Okay. We know in the crypto space that we need some regulatory findings. We need to have something to actually look at and say, hey, this is is a security. This is not. The reason that I don't think this has much of anything to do with Bitcoin's price right now is because the SEC has already said, "Hey, Bitcoin is not a security." That's not in a legal document, but that they have come out and said that Bitcoin and ETH are not a security. The main reason that Bitcoin is below 50,000, let's call a spade, is because the institutions want it to be below 50,000.
Hundred percent.
It's because the whales have a game plan that, let's see how many people we can knock out without actually flipping the boat. They want to not actually lose all retail investor confidence. What they want to do is get the boat rocking enough for people to fall off left and right, left and right, left and right. But at the end of the day, there's still a bunch of people in the middle of the boat that say, okay, I'm ready for this ride. And what they want those people to do, or the people that already fell off, they want the people that already fell off to come back in and buy the very top. They want the people that are holding strong, right, to just continue to dollar cost average, to continue to pump that price up as it happens. That is the reason why Bitcoin is below 50,000, because they have not been, or they are not ready for it to run as of yet, which I think, by the way, is about to change.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you said there. And what I would have to add to that would be is they are creating the narrative that Bitcoin needs regulatory clarification for it to continue growing, right? They needs the government to come in and say, "Hey guys, we are now going to do this and this, and now Bitcoin can keep going because we are allowing it. We have control over it," right? They're creating this narrative in people's minds that this is what Bitcoin needs to keep going. That is not true at all, right? Bitcoin can continue to boom, continue to grow without any regulatory um, what's the word? I lost my train.
Clarity, clarity.
Clarity, yeah, clarity
Yeah.
from the United States government, right? We will continue to see other countries adopt Bitcoin. We will continue to see people build on Bitcoin. We'll continue to see retail buy Bitcoin, and it will continue to grow on its own, right? Whether it's millionaires and hedge funds, or it's retail, just regular retail buying up Bitcoin. Bitcoin supply is finite. It will run out, whether the United States wants to have regulatory clarity on it or not. It will run out, and supply and demand is simple. More demand than supply, price will go up. It does not say,
Yeah.
hey, supply and demand depends on regulatory clarification. If the government says it's okay, then supply and demand will push up the price. No, supply and demand doesn't care about government clarification. It only cares about demand. The demand is there. The supply is dwindling. Exchanges are running out. It's going to be harder and harder to buy Bitcoin on large bulk on exchanges, and Bitcoin will continue to rise.
Yeah, no doubt. I definitely second that sentiment there. Let's hit number 4 and 5 together, because I think they both are a big load of hogwash together. So let's hit them both. The dollar is rising, number 4. Number 5, China completely bans Bitcoin for the first time. Let's talk about the dollar real quick. The dollar rising. It says, despite the outbreak of the Delta variant of the, oh, I'm not allowed to say that on here. The appetite to spend has not decreased. As such, a recovering economy means less interest in economic hedge assets like Bitcoin. Listen, it says the data shows that America's economy is on a bullish trend. Guys, what this shows, okay, is that whoever wrote this is either absolutely insane and knows
Bootlicker.
nothing about economics, or this person is, yes, absolutely a bootlicker, right? They have their head so far up someone else's anus that that has an agenda to push. The dollar is not the only thing rising about the dollar, is the number of dollars we have been printing.
Being
That
printed.
that is rising. That number is rising exponentially at a
Yes.
very, very fast rate, right? And so that's the only thing rising. The other thing rising, I need to put my boots on, because the BS is getting deep, right? This is so much bull crap. The dollar is not rising. If anything, when the United States is warning you about inflation, you better be looking at deflation. I'll leave it at that. When the government is warning you, hey, what's the famous thing? Hey, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. The
Yeah.
scariest 8 or 10 words, or whatever that saying is.
Mhm.
I totally agree with that. And then finally, and Miguel, you can talk on both of these too, obviously, but China completely bans Bitcoin for the first time. Listen, China FUD is always exactly what it is. It's China FUD. It's China trying to control China. And other than that, it's manipulation just like anywhere else. I believe that China owns Bitcoin. I truly believe that. I believe that they are just trying to push their digital yuan, and they are trying to push a narrative through their society that they're able to push because they don't have Facebook, right? They don't have Google. And I don't know if some of you know this, but China doesn't have that, right? China doesn't have the internet as you and I know it. And
Yeah.
so because they don't, they're able to push whatever narrative they want. And banning Bitcoin, whether they're loaded up and stocked up on Bitcoin, it's a whole nother story. But I truly believe that all the miners that got kicked off, that they said bye-bye, said get out of here, I believe that they actually sent those people out and said, ominous dominus, we give you our blessing. Excuse me. Now go away and do good work for the CCP, and please report back to us, and we will pay you handsomely. So, Miguel, thoughts?
I don't know about that last part, right? That last part with the Bitcoin miners. Interesting thought. Could be a possibility. I doubt nothing in this simulation that we live in, right? Uh, just kidding, guys. But China, that part number five, right? China banning Bitcoin completely for the first time. Correction. China banning Bitcoin completely for the
For the
100th millionth
86th
time.
time.
Yes, right. They've done the same exact band every
Yeah,
single time. They
yeah,
just love to bring it up over and over as they get closer to their digital yuan, right?
yeah,
They've banned Facebook, they've banned WhatsApp, they've banned Google, um, they've banned everything that's American product. They have banned, and they have created a Chinese version of it, right? So they're going to do the same thing with Bitcoin. They're banning Bitcoin, they're creating digital yuan, right? What's happened with all these companies that have been banned in China? They are still thriving. They are still succeeding, right? They don't need China, just how Bitcoin doesn't need China. Bitcoin should ban China. Matter of fact, Bitcoin should say we don't want Chinese people on this thing. Get out of here. If you're part of the Chinese government, away with you, right?
yeah.
But Bitcoin is a nice guy. Bitcoin doesn't care about where you're at or where you're from and where you're at. Everybody can use Bitcoin. But that
Crypto.
that is complete FUD. That is complete utter, nothing burger. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. I also saw another article saying that Alibaba is now not going to allow you selling mining equipment. I'm surprised that people are buying mining equipment on Alibaba, right? Because those things sell out instantly by these scalpers that just buy up a gigantic bulk and then they resell it for tens of thousands of dollars. So I didn't even know Alibaba was selling mining equipment. If they did, I probably wouldn't even trust it anyways. The same way as you shouldn't trust buying Ledger wallets off other platforms that's not directly from Ledger. Um,
Yeah.
and what was the other thing? The dollar rising. The dollar rising is the biggest joke, like you said, right? The only way it's rising is in the amount that's being printed constantly all the time. The dollar has zero threat to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is 100% of a threat to the dollar. So they're trying to talk about how the dollar's coming back. People are preferring dollars over crypto, over Bitcoin, right? People are saying that, with deflation, all this stuff coming, maybe jump into the dollar. I'm still not 100% sold on that. I'm not 100% sold that they can climb out of the hole that they're in with the dollar. The dollar has been way diluted, has been corrupted, has been lost the trust and faith of everybody. I do not see how they could climb out and then we could have the booming economy that we had in the 50s or 40s with the dollar later down the line in the next decade or two. I just don't see it. I think we are on the decline. We're on the way down, right? Every empire has fallen after existing for about 240 to 270 years, and every currency ever created by mankind has been corrupted to the point of it not existing anymore. So I do not believe no one's ever undone a currency corruption. Everybody's always had it fail. So I don't see the United States being the first one to undo the mistakes that they have. Their machine is too big and too clunky to hit reverse. They only go forward, and they're going to keep going forward until it goes bust. And the only solution to that is crypto in the future, whether Bitcoin is the reserve currency or not, or some other crypto. It's just, I don't see the dollar surviving.
Yeah, I'm with you, and ultimately the narrative will get pushed. Whatever fits the government's thought process at the time. Whatever it's going to do for our government to make the most sense for China's government. The government's always going to do best for the government. If you ever think that the government is here to like actually help lead, guide, and direct you, the only thing they're leading, guiding, and directing you into is some sort of hoopla that benefits them, right?
100%.
So, Crypto fam, check it out. We call this channel for a number of reasons, but debate crypto because we don't take a news article. We don't take something that someone says just 100% at face value and say, okay, we will not be sheep. Okay. And I don't like to use that example often, but I want to make it clear. It's debate crypto because there are headlines, there is news, there is FUD, there is all of these things that are in every single sense of our, as our world as we know it. But crypto is, our main, the main stage that we're talking on, right?
Yeah.
So we just want to encourage you to do two things, and this is what we always talk about, right? We want you to educate yourselves, and we want you to have a game plan. And I say it a lot in the academy and Debate Crypto Academy. We talk about those two things, and I harp on it for the reason that if you educate yourself, if you take if you start actually reading, if you start, with a book like behind me, the Bitcoin Standard here, if you educate yourself, you are going to be in the next step towards capitalizing for your your financial future. And if you are able to do that, then you can take the next step, which means put together a game plan. Guys, if you are looking for a game plan and you're not already part of the Debate Crypto Academy, definitely check us out, debatecrypto.academy. We would love to have you. We've got some options for you. But until next time, guys, we love you. We hope you guys have a great night, and we will see you. Hodl.
Huddle like it's